Welcome back, episode 4 of Draft Busters here on the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. My name is Garrett Burrows. Join me at the bottom of the screen every single week is Chickster, he's got his flu game going right now.
Bro.
He's got his MJ flu game. I'm expecting an all-time performance from Chickster. Let us know how you're feeling.
I feel like Jesus. I feel like I died for 3 days, and I just came back. And obviously, I'm not as good as a person as Jesus, but it's still there. The metaphor is there. But no, I've felt like death. This is probably the last 2 days are probably the best I've probably felt this week. But I still kind of feel like shit. But we're here. I know I've been delaying this. I'm like, hey, I can't like really. If we recorded the whole video, would have been me like just doing this the entire time, and then like not even. I'd be like, yeah, that guy's he's okay. Dying.
Oh, it's actually real. I thought it was for the bit.
No.
Oh no.
Dying.
I muted your mic. I muted your mic really quick. All right, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Well, because you kept coughing. I didn't want to rupture the eardrums of the listeners here.
I'm gonna die. Okay.
Great, you sound great.
Just in case you didn't believe me, there I am. Okay.
Yes, we're back with another episode. Alex is gonna try to chug through for you guys. Episode 4. As you can tell on your screen, we are doing the wide receiver rankings. And yep, there's the bit every single week. We got the wide receiver.
No, I
see
him.
You were doing the squint thing. Oh.
No, I see him.
Unbelievable.
I got
Unbelievable.
You this week. I got you this week.
You did.
You
did.
Bro, gotta keep you on your toes. You don't know.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Yep, we're doing the wide receiver rankings this week. Previous 2 weeks, we did the running backs and quarterbacks, which you can find on the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please be sure to press the subscribe button. In case you've missed the last couple of weeks, we give our 10 through 1. We give our reasons why. And this is always subject to change since we're 2 months out from the NFL draft. I just want to give a quick shout to some guys who are not on my top 10. Might be a bit spoilers, but who had really good weeks at the Senior Bowl.
Okay. I'm ready.
I just want to highlight Roman Wilson from Michigan, Ricky Pearsall from Florida, Brendan Rice from USC. All had really good weeks. They're probably on people's top 10 list. I'm sure when Trey watches this, he loves Brendan Rice. He's all in on Brendan Rice. He's probably on his top 10. He's not on my top 10.
He may or may not. I mean, made my top 10.
And I did adjust my list minutes before we did this. I texted Alex earlier in the day. My 8 through 10 could have been like 6 or 7 different guys. So
yeah,
those 3 missed the cut. It is a very loaded class, and this isn't necessarily even a slight at those guys because I think all 3 of them could be productive NFL players, and they probably will be productive NFL players. But for me right now, they don't make my 10.
Well, damn.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna let Alex go first with his 10 and 9. We're gonna flip back and forth like we have been doing. So, Alex, let us know your number 10 wide receiver in the 2024 NFL draft.
We're gonna go with Jalen Polk out of Washington. I like Jalen Polk. I don't care. I like Jalen Polk. Man, he's got really hard, like strong hands. Like, and maybe it's a little. He might be like a little bit overrated just because Rome Odunze is like the guy in Washington. Spoiler alert, he's going to be somewhere in the top 10, as he should, though. But, like, I mean, I like Jalen Polk regardless. The thing that the knacks against him, he really he runs good routes, but he doesn't really get a lot of, like, separation. But, I don't know. I like Jalen Polk. I think he can be really productive. He's a good, strong body to catch. He's not going to be, like, a wide receiver 1 or anything, but at least for number 10, he'll be in my number 10 list, and I'm cool with that.
All right, Jalen Polk out of Washington, your number 10. How about your number 9?
Oh, I'm doing 2. I'm special. Well, I thought I did 2. No, you do 2.
Right, because you do the one that
I
do.
You don't even know what you're doing.
I'm already fucking up. I'm so sorry.
You don't even know what you're doing. Who's been sick near you?
That's a good point. My number 10 in the 2024 NFL draft is Malachi Corley out of Western Michigan. He's a guy who was in Mobile this past week, who I got to watch live. He was on my radar going into the Senior Bowl week. I thought he had a strong week. He could have been better, which is the theme for somebody on this list who is lower than who I originally had him. Spoiler alert. Trey put in his stock notes, which you can find on VendettasFirstMedia.com. They're the best notes that you're going to find on the internet when it comes to events like this. He was saying that he doesn't quite get the Debo comparison with Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley is 5'11", I believe 220 pounds, so he's kind of built like Debo. He reminds me of Debo. I don't necessarily, and this isn't necessarily say he is a comparison to Debo Samuel. I think he could play a similar role in the NFL. He's really good yards after the catch. You put the ball in his hands, he's going to make a play. He's got good speed, good agility, quick feet. His catch radius better than it should be as well. He's athletic. He knows how to use his feet well. He can get the ball, really strong hands. The NFL is going to force them to clean up those routes, though. Doesn't have a very crisp route tree, especially working underneath. I'd like to see him clean it up a little bit, especially like 5-yard outs, working slants inside the middle of the field. Probably going to be a slot guy. He's not somebody you're going to have outside as your wide receiver one. I don't think that's a knock on him. I just think that when you're drafting him, you're understanding that Malachi Corley is probably going to be a slot guy.
Yeah.
My number 9.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm going to stop you. Stop you right there. I got 2 questions. How's mobile? We didn't even talk about you going to mobile.
That is true. That is true. It was good. It was.
Well, talk about the first day. I feel like you got to talk about the first day, like when you got there and like it was a shit show.
I just, without pointing names or naming fingers, obviously, because I don't want to get anybody else at the site blocked. I don't want to get nobody blocked, so I'm not going to point names or name fingers. However, online, nowhere to be found was the time zones of when practice started. Nowhere at all. It just said 9:30. So is at 9:30 local time, which is central in Mobile, and I didn't know that. At like going into it, at least I forgot. Is it 9:30 central for Mobile? Is it 9:30 Eastern, which means it'd be 8:30 in Mobile? So I get my happy ass out of bed at 7:45 in the morning to get ready.
Because you were going to get late. You were going to be late.
I wasn't going to be fucking late.
Right.
Spoiler alert, I fucking was. I get to the stadium at 8. I get there like 8:10. Parking lot's abandoned. There's nobody. Like the screens at the box office, they're completely closed. It's like nobody's here. I'm like, okay, I have an hour to kill. I go get a coffee. I come back. I'm hanging out. Right. It gets to be 9 o'clock, 9:15 or so. And I'm like, I need to go get in line to get my credentials. It shouldn't take too long, though. When Mark and I went last year, we showed up like 10 minutes before practice started. We got our credentials super quick because they had like 4 people running the table outside. I'm like, this is surely what they're doing again this year, right? Because that makes the most sense.
Right.
I was 35 minutes late to practice.
Ouch.
I was in that fucking line for 45 minutes.
Why though?
Just to get my credentials. I can't wrap my head around it. They had one person working the little box office thing, handing out their credentials. One person, Alex, for like 30 minutes, and then they finally open it up. Okay, A through L on this side, M to Z on this side. And it goes by last name. So we part the Red Sea. Shout out to Moses, right? And so the guy that I met, shout out Zach, who works at 32 Beat Writers. I met up with him this week in Mobile. He's a cool dude. We chatted the entire week. We kind of bounced ideas off of each other. I met him in line. Him and I we're in the same line. We go over to the A to L side. And then I'm still sitting there. It's still not moving. And they finally open up a third window. Like 40 minutes into this. And then I feel so bad for some of the people who have to deal with this. They didn't have a fair amount of the credentials like ready and printed So they had to go to the side and wait for the people behind the desk to make them there, like screen them and then hand them out.
What the fuck are they doing?
Not only that,
Oh no.
I get up to the window and I go, hey, last name's Burrows, slide my ID to verify it's me, right? So what do you have to do? And she's looking at the thing, and I'm like, out of curiosity, y'all, do you guys have rosters? And she goes, no, they're inside. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Wouldn't you want to give out a roster with the credentials to people who did not go Tuesday morning to the opening press conference to get their credentials and their rosters? Like me, I didn't do that. I wasn't getting up at fucking 7 a.m. to drive downtown. Fuck that. She goes, they're inside. I'm like, all right, whatever. I meander on inside. I get my bag checked because I'm wearing my backpack, right? And nobody at all. So I'm like walking around the little concourse area looking for somebody with rosters. I don't see anybody. So I, walk out to the field and they're still stretching, by the way. 35 minutes into practice, they're still doing warm-up. So I haven't missed anything.
I feel like they knew they fucked up with the credentials. Maybe that's why they were still stretching.
Nope. It was a theme the entire week. Where they spent so much fucking time stretching, doing like individual stuff that like we can't do anything with. It was stupid. So I go up to a guy. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Real quick question. Where did you get your rosters? Oh, I got him this morning. Cool, whatever. I walk around. I find another dude. I'm like, hey, introduce myself. Where'd you get the rosters? Oh, I got him at the window. Great. Sounds great. So practice starts and they finally start doing the team shit, right? Like the actual one-on-one. So I can't leave now.
Yeah.
So I'm taking notes in my notebook, just writing down numbers.
Yeah.
And then my notes. And then I have, yes, just so I can get like, excuse me, just so I can get an idea. And there's finally a lull. And then they're doing like punt return coverage shit. Completely useless stuff. I don't even know why they do it.
Yeah.
And so I go back to the window. I'm like, hey, do you guys have rosters? Now I get told they're available online. How the fuck does this help me here with no rosters? Like, I know y'all got printers back there because you're printing off credentials.
I mean, they were doing it.
Have a fucking stack. I couldn't fucking believe it. It was a fucking mess. This whole thing. And what's crazy too, and then I'll tell my other story, then we'll go back to this list. I read a tweet from, and I don't remember his name. Trey likes him a lot. He's got his own like YouTube show. He's like, I think he was affiliated with CBS Sports. Kind of a big guy, right? He said Jim Nagy should be like the commissioner of college football because this was like so seamless. I'm like, brother, are you even here? Are you in Mobile? Come to find out, the dude wasn't in Mobile this week. So he doesn't understand. Online. He's watching online.
And he was like, yeah, this looks good.
He's like, this looks really good. I'm like, how can you say this? On the heels of the media dinner, which is bullshit, by the way. Last year, they had a media breakfast before practices, right? And it was like a decent amount of time before practice too. This year, every year practices go 9:30 to 2, right? They do 9:30 to 11:30, 12 to 2, 30-minute break in between. The media gets 10 minutes to hit the field and do interviews with the players. I was lucky enough to talk to some folks. It was really cool. You can find it on my Twitter. You walk into a ballroom, right? It's a massive ballroom, tons of tables set up for the players. They have 5 podiums against the back wall with microphones and speakers, right? Naturally, you would assume that if there's microphones and speakers set up, that they'd be functional, correct?
Nope.
Tell me why the entire media dinner, 2 of them worked. 2 of them. The worst part about it, Alex, and this is how I know this shit was ran so poorly and that maybe certain individuals don't actually care as much as they make it seem like on Twitter. There were people on the floor of the event, walking around talking to the media members, which I didn't see last year, so that was actually kind of interesting. They were around, didn't care to notice, oh, the players on the podiums, I can't hear them. They're like the speakers aren't working. None of the staff members seem to care. They didn't give a fuck at all. So I fail to understand like how this is viewed as a raging success when, like, logistically speaking, all of it was a nightmare. The practice ended at 2. The little media thing started at 3:30. You had an hour and a half to get from the stadium downtown, find parking, get up to the ballroom. It took me 45 minutes to get down there, and I left like as soon as practice ended. And it took me 45 minutes.
Yeah. Fuck.
There were people still rolling in as the players got there. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. I can't see how this is viewed as a success when the whole thing just seemed so poorly managed. But otherwise, it was great. I did get burnt the first day because my dumbass forgot sunscreen. Left side of my body got cooked. I got a little blister on my ear. It's great. What?
No, go ahead.
Oh, you look like you had something to say.
I said I had 2 questions, and I'm trying to remember my other one, but I can't. So I was gonna
that
keep
is true.
Going. Yeah.
The feeling that I got this year was as good as the class was on paper, a lot of the players underdelivered, which is a shame. Last year's roster was good, but it lacked like big star power. But you could tell after day 1, there were dudes like balling out, and there's a lot of guys there that really made names for themselves. Whereas this year, I don't come away with the same feeling. There was a lot of underwhelming players this year, which is disappointing. And I'm sure later on, we will go through these lists again, and I'll talk about these players who underperformed, but it is what it is. You realize your second question.
I did. Who's the Puka this year? Who's the Pookie? Because I will have you know, like, and Garrett tells us all the time, right here, like, everyone figured out who Puka was in week 1, and was going crazy on the fantasy list. Now the hot topic is, who is it this year? Well, Garrett's the one that found him last year.
I found him after 1 day. 1 day of practices. No other practices, didn't play in the game. And I said, after day 1, this kid's going to be legit. That is a massive feather in my cap. Yes, I will 100% brag about that every opportunity I get. That I found him in Mobile after 1 day of practices.
So, who was that? I know you said a lot of undelivery, but like, did anyone stand out to you as much as that, or are you gonna hold on to that?
I almost don't. I'm not gonna hold on to it. I'm not gonna hold on to it because I like to. Because if I say it and I'm right, then I'm back-to-back years picking the best rookie receiver, and that'd be a great flex. I'll be honest. I get the feeling that someone like Ladd McConkey could be like a breakout guy this upcoming year, where he's gonna go. Honestly, he's probably going to go on day 2. He's on my list, and he's the guy that I made adjustment for, like, today. I moved him like significantly higher up on my list than I had him before.
He's on my list too. He's on my list.
He's got the best routes out of anybody in the entire draft class, and I feel like it again with him. It's probably about system. He'll be the slot guy. I could see him being a reception machine next year.
Yeah. I can see it.
I haven't officially made up my mind yet. I don't want to put the label just yet, but if I had to pencil somebody in, write it in pencil where I can erase it, I'm probably putting in his Ladd.
All right, here we go. All right, go to your number 9. Sorry, I had to ask about mobile. I felt like that was important, and we didn't even talk about it. So
that is fair. I kind of just skipped right over it. So maybe that's on me.
You're tired. So that's why.
I am. Yeah, I'm pretty tired. Number 9 on my wide receiver list is the guy who I bumped down quite a bit for his performance in Mobile, and that's Devontae Walker out of UNC.
He
He's
actually did
somebody,
not make it my list. I
and I don't
dropped him.
blame you. I don't
Yeah,
blame you. I was going back and forth and even putting him in my top 10.
yeah.
But I think he's got the upside. I really do.
I do
I
too.
see it.
I really do too. He can go back in my list, but right now,
And like I said at the beginning of every episode, this is all obviously subject to change. Right now, he's in my number 9. There was a real conversation we had about him not making the top 10 at all.
yeah,
Listen, he can move. He's gonna run a great 40 time. I think that is something that could really save him is if he runs sub 4.40, which I think he could potentially do. If he posts like a 4.38 in the 40, he's going back up because you
yeah.
can't teach speed like that. I saw him live, and he's a knuckle dragger. He's just got these long, lanky fucking arms where
Oh, what the fuck?
they just kind of flop around, and that gives him the ability to catch anything that goes his way. Asterisk by that, we'll get to that in a second. His catch radius is absurd. His frame allows him to catch nearly everything. He's got the footwork's good. His work off the line is good. He can beat press coverage when he wants to. But oh my god, Alex. The drops killed him this week.
What? What's his favorite candy? What's his favorite candy?
A fucking Butterfingers. I thought about making the joke, but I did it last week and it felt kind of cheesy to do it again. That's fair. That's fair.
I was ready for it this
Listen,
time. I had you.
I cannot believe how many drop balls he had. I can't believe it. Even in the game today, they had the Senior Bowl game today. The opening play for the national team was a flea flicker, an absolute dot by Bo Nix. It was a perfectly thrown ball over the shoulder, beats his corner, in, drop. And it's going to kill him. That I had him number 6 on my list when I originally wrote this. He was number 6. I might have even had him higher before, to be honest. But I mean, you can't ignore those drops, and they're a major concern. No. One other thing as well that I found really interesting: his height at UNC was listed as 6'3". He measured at the Senior Bowl at 6'1".
He had some lifts in his shoes.
Not great. I mean, he's still 6'1" and he can burn. That's good, but I really those 2 inches. Trust us, 2 inches make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
So
he's 5 inches taller than I am, which is crazy. You think about people you're like, hey, he's 6'1", and I'm only like 5'8", but I'm like, yeah, he's kind of short. But then I'm like, well, then again, he's like taller than me, so
yeah.
But
yeah.
Devontae
Walker comes in at my number 9 from UNC, which I get it, to be honest.
He needs to hit the jug machine. Just hit
it. That's the only thing he needs to work on this entire offseason is just hit the jugs.
Yeah.
Pause.
No pause. We mean that shit. Hit the jugs. All right, here we go. Number 9 for me, Brendan Rice.
Out of USC. Yep.
Yeah. Yes, out of USC. I forgot to do the school thing. He's got good feet. He's got release. He's got impressive lineage. Jerry Rice. It is what it is.
Who I almost got a photo with in Mobile, by the way.
You almost got a picture with, but you have a few pictures of him talking with his son.
With his son, yeah.
Yeah, which was cool.
And really quickly, and then I'll let you get back to your list. This was a really good learning experience for me this year that I need to be so fucking aggressive in situations like this, because I saw Terrell Owens on the field. That was fucking cool. I saw Terrell Owens, who I think was Sean Alexander as well, potentially on the field too, the famed Seattle Seahawks running back. But then I see Jerry Rice, and so naturally my attention goes to the greatest receiver of all time, right? And he's like taking some photos, but everybody's keeping their distance. And then some media folks kind of wander by and ask for photos, and they do it. And he takes the photos. He's really kind, really courteous. And so I walk up, and I'm like, I'm gonna get a fucking photo with Jerry Rice. There's a person in front of me. They do the photos. I'm literally up next. I make eye contact with Jerry Rice. And then a dude opposite from me has his phone out, and he wants to have a conversation. He wants to record it. So Jerry looks at me. This guy starts talking. I'm too fucking polite sometimes, Alex. He starts talking. Jerry looks at him, looks at me, and then I kind of point his direction. He looks at the dude while he's talking and looks back at me again while the guy's talking.
Like he sees
Basically
you and he's
telling
like,
me, okay, let's do this photo real quick. And then I said no again. And so the guy talks.
what?
They
Oh,
talk for like
Garrett,
5 fucking minutes. And
you
then
left.
Jerry walks over to his son. And then Jerry's like, hey, guys, I'm not doing any more photos. I'm with my boy. And I'm like,
No, you did that
I
yourself, Garrett. You fucked
I
yourself on
know.
that one.
I'm fully aware of
The
that. I'm fully
greatest
aware.
wide receiver of all time. And
Hey,
you have a
listen.
chance, and
Next
you,
year, I'm gonna be a fucking prick to people. I will
you're
be a fucking prick. Now I know.
you're like,
Now I
you're
know.
like, sir, we were taking a picture. Thank you.
I
will
really
get
thought
out your
about
way.
I really thought about when he was just like, "Hey, I'm with my boy," and some people started walking away. I thought I'd go into the side and be like, "Listen,
Come on,
just
come
a quick one. I was here
on,
before. I
ah,
was here a couple minutes ago. Just a
come
quick one. I didn't.
on.
So yes, that is entirely on me, but it's a learning experience.
But
Okay,
you know what?
back to your
You know
list.
what? Real quick, but I feel like some athletes like appreciate that, like, because some people wouldn't and be like, hey, like, but like, and sometimes like even I don't know, and I haven't been around many celebrities, but like even when I am, I feel like there's so many people that are pushy with them that I don't want to be that person. Like I'm
Right.
just kind of like, hey, oh
That's
shit,
entirely what
you're
I was afraid of too, because like some people were just like
yeah,
kind of walking up and like asking, and I didn't want to be like, "Oh my god," because I've had one interaction with a famous person. I saw
right.
former
Cody,
UFC champion Cody Garbrandt
yeah, I
in
was about to bring that up too.
in the mall in Las Vegas, in the Caesar's Palace Mall. And I saw him behind me, and we're walking. Phoebe and I are walking, and I see him with his partner, with his wife. And I'm like, I looked at Phoebe and I was like, holy shit, that's Cody fucking Garbrandt. She goes, who is that? And I'm like, that's a UFC champion. He's worn gold in the UFC. And she's like, you should talk to him. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't, because I always don't want to be one of those people that like bug celebrities when
Yeah,
they're out. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, whatever. I turned around and I'm like, I'm not gonna ask for a photo. I don't want to disturb your time. I just want to say I've been a fan of yours for a long time. You're a hell of a fighter. I love watching your fights. He was super cool.
yeah,
Shout out Cody Garbrandt for being a really cool dude. He was like, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Do you want a photo? And I'm like, are you sure? Like, I know you're out right now. I don't want to intrude. Nah, dude, let's take a photo. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
dude. And I think that's the right way to go about it. It's like he's like, hey, I know who you are. Let's take a picture. It's just like, hey, massive
because
fan.
Because if I turn
Like,
around and be like, "Oh my god, Cody Garbrandt, I want a photo," everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, he's a famous person." I
yeah,
didn't want that. So
yeah. And
yeah.
I think that's right. Just like, hey, massive fan, man. Like, whatever. Like, I think you handled
Hey,
that
listen.
perfectly.
Next year though, I see any motherfucker in the NFL, I'm knocking somebody over to get a photo. Fuck it.
Hey,
I'm not wasting this opportunity again.
oh, you're at mobile. Like, that's different. I feel like you're at the thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, but no, that was it. Good size. He has really good free release. Obviously, his dad's Jerry Rice, so obviously he's got DNA in him. And but I mean, he's gonna be a good wide receiver in the NFL. Like, I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to be. Uh, I like a lot of like someone else with an impressive lineage in my list. You know that
Spoiler
everyone
alert.
already know and that everyone
We already
already
know who number
knows.
one
Yeah,
is.
you're right. But
But
whatever. But yeah,
right.
Brandon Rice at 9 for me out of USC.
And you're number 8.
Oh yeah, might
Now you go back to
be
back.
no. That's right. I changed it. Getting into a little bit more musty area for me. Adane. Did I say that right? AD Mitchell.
AD
Yeah,
Mitchell, yeah.
we'll just call him AD Mitchell. He's very tall, can play. He's fast, good feet. Obviously you can catch the ball. The bad thing about AD Mitchell is he's got a small frame. He's just a small kind of dude, which like like Devontae Smith had the same thing, really tall, kind of skinny. But even Devontae Smith, he had to adjust to NFL quarterbacks. Like they will fucking bully you if you let them. So is he going to let them bully you? Like, is he gonna let them bully him when he gets to the NFL, or is he gonna be able to adjust? Is he gonna be able to? Is he gonna put some muscle on? Is he gonna get have work on his release off the line, and really work off these NFL corners? But he can play in the NFL. You would have said before the season that Xavier Worthy was the guy in Texas, and now AD Mitchell kind of just leapfrogged him. I feel like because Xavier Worthy's not in my top 10, he's out of my top 10. So AD Mitchell really has made a good name for himself this year, but he's fast. He's gonna blow the top off of a defense. He's tall. If you can get him while he's running right there, if he can get off the line, hit him in stride right there, and he'll high point the ball and everything. Like, he just needs to work on his frame. You just gotta get him a little bit more muscle to him. Either that or be very physical at the line. So
Really quickly, who is your number 9 receiver?
Brendan Rice out of USC.
I thought he was okay, never mind. Rice, and then 8 was a D. Okay, sounds good. You hit the nail right on the head on that one. My number 8 wide receiver is also AD Mitchell out of Texas.
Woo!
High five. Listen, you want to talk about a knuckle dragger? AD Mitchell's a lanky motherfucker. 6'4".
He is. He is lean
with long ass arms.
Yeah.
He's got strides, man. He's a long strider. He can take the top off of a defense. He's another guy that's going to post a really, really good 40 time. I'm really excited to see it. He's got the move set off the line to beat press coverage, which I like. If he's got a physical corner against him playing press, like you said, with that frame, he might get beat pretty quickly, which, again, just put on a little weight, maybe put on like 5 or 10 pounds. He might be a little bit better. He sells his routes really well. One thing that you see is his hips always are really fluid. The head movement, jerking in and out of routes, always really solid with him. He's not really known for having the highest motor. The motor always doesn't run hot. And that is noticeable when he gets beat on the line. If he can't beat his guy off the line, especially like against press coverage, the effort just kind of lacks there a little bit. So I'd like to see the motor run a little bit more hot. He is going to run a 40 time. That's going to be good, but I almost, and you can't really do anything about it, obviously, but you'd expect someone to be 195 pounds and run a better time than what he's going to post. Does that make sense? Well, like, he's got such long legs, he's got the long strides. You'd think he should be faster than he is.
Is it? You think it's his burst, his acceleration? Like, you think?
I think it's initial burst. Yes.
Yeah.
Which I guess that can be worked on with like proper footwork and things like that. But
yeah.
My number 7 is a guy who's kind of fallen down boards, it seems like, as of late. When the season first ended, this guy was being mocked as high as like number 4 overall. I saw mocks where he was going to the Giants at number 4. I'm talking about Keon Coleman out of FSU. The big selling point with Keon Coleman is the size and his frame. He is 6'4", 215, and he's built really well. He's got a big body frame. Big year with FSU this year with 11 touchdowns caught. He had a great year. He played basketball. I believe he played basketball even for Tom Izzo, which is crazy. I think he was a Michigan State transfer potentially. But with that athleticism, no one's going to beat him for a jump ball. He is your red zone guy. He could be a guy that you could steal in dynasty drafts, and he's going to be touchdown dependent, obviously, but he could get touchdowns in the red zone, and that's a really big upside for him. I question if he has like actual number 1 potential. And the reason I say that is because he only caught 50 balls last year for FSU. He had 11 touchdowns, which is great. But out of my number 1 receiver, I want to see a guy who's going to go, he can go pull out 6, 7, 8 plus catches a game. I don't know that Keon Coleman can do that. And part of the issue with that is his route tree is limited, and the routes he also runs is kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
He just feels like a guy who just has one kind of thing he wants to do, and he's good at it, but everything else he's kind of ignored.
Yeah.
The footwork isn't there. The hips are very tight. He doesn't sell routes very well. I have concerns about him being an actual number one at the next level.
I have him a little bit higher, but it's okay. Like we're getting into the nitty gritty. I feel like. Number 7 for me, Troy Franklin out of Oregon. A lot of the same reasons as AD Mitchell. Just small frame. It's hard to like guys with small frame in the NFL. Uh, Especially at wide receiver. I mean, but he's fast. He's got good hands. He's got good feet. I mean, he'll play, and he played really well this year with Bo Nix at Oregon. But I don't know, like, is he gonna get bullied off the line? And that's the thing. Like, he could be explosive at times. Like I said, the footwork is there. He's got great hands. Okay, but I always worry about, like, because we're in the NFL, like, if you cannot be, physical at the line, you're gonna get bullied and you're not gonna get anything. Like, and that was a big thing about, like, Tutu Atwell coming out of college, right? Like, very small frame, gets bullied. Only now is just now kind of getting involved. Even then, it's in spurts. Like, you're gonna find games, but, like, are you gonna be able to be a consistent force off the line, even though you have a small frame? Can you put some weight on? But he's my number 7. Not a bad spot for him. Can definitely move up, can move out. I don't know. It's like we've already kind of mentioned it. Like, this tier, like, there's the top tier, which we'll get to, and then there's, like, everybody else, and then it's whatever. But let's go number 6. Number 6 might be low for now. I got Brian Thomas at 6. Man, he really has his footwork just pops out at you. His footwork is nasty. He's got great release off the line. You want to talk about release with guys with small frame? This guy has no problem with getting good release, good size, great size, has the hands. The kind of thing that puts him a little bit lower for me is how good is Brian Thomas really when he doesn't have Malik Neighbors on the other side of him? I think that's a key thing you have to look at. Especially, like, when you're going against the NFL, when you're like, most NFL teams are going to have at least 2 good guys that can cover right there. Okay, cool. Like, that might not always happen in college, but, like, if you got Malik Neighbors on the other side, you're not getting the quarterback 1. You're getting usually quarterback 2, quarterback 3. So Brian Thomas, he has all the tools. Okay, he's got the size, got the footwork, can run. But, like, can he do that against an NFL corner? And that's going to be the questions going in for him. But he is going to be a great ball player. I have no doubt that he can play. It's just how good is he really, and we'll figure out how good he is really without Malik Neighbors on the other side of that.
Yeah, before I get into my list, you hit the nail right in the head. Like, the area of receivers that we're in right now,
yeah,
is one of those things where it's like we may have these guys at 7 and 6, but these are guys who are going to be contributors as a rookie.
For sure. Yeah.
Like these, like having these guys where they aren't like digs at them. Like, they're like, it's just that loaded of a class. So you're 100% right. My number 6 wide receiver in the 2024 NFL draft, who I originally had at number 9, moved up to 6 after his week of the Senior Bowl, is Ladd McConkey.
Oh yeah.
And I'm probably even too low on him. I just think the 5 guys ahead of him, I am absolutely in love with. And I'll be honest, not necessarily that I was out on McConkey, I just wasn't as in as other people. Watching him live, oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'm aware
Jeez
that he is probably too low. But I mentioned it before, the footwork, the route running, the route tree, probably the best in the entire class. He was going up against bigger DBs. He was cooking them in press coverage. It was ridiculous. Wins off the line. He has everything that you want out of a slot guy, because he's going to be a slot guy.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have great speed.
No.
You're going to see his 40 time, and it's going to be like in the 4.5s probably. Don't even be upset about it. Don't be like, man, that's a bad time. Don't. Don't even be upset about it whatsoever, because that is who he is. One underrated part of his game, which I really value when I'm looking at wide receivers, he's really good outside in run blocking. He's a great blocker on the outside, which I personally covet as a skill in my receivers. Whereas some of these guys on this list, they just don't care about run blocking, so obviously it's a detractor for them. He's great at it. He's absolutely great. Short area quickness, like I said, off the line, even like in those little like 5-yard outs, absolutely exceptional. He's absolutely great. He's also really aggressive going after the ball while it's in the air as well. He's not somebody who's going to let the ball come to him. He's violent in going after the ball. He wants it. He's got to have it.
Yeah.
If he's drafted by the wrong team, who tries to use him wrong in the sense they try to put him outside, maybe he's even like a wide receiver too, it's just not going to work.
Nope.
You're drafting Ladd to be a slot guy. Please just put him in the slot. Physical corners on the line are going to beat him as well. He is smaller in stature. He is strong, but like long, lanky guys who are physical are probably going to beat him off the line in press coverage. Just something to keep an eye on. My number 5 wide receiver in the 2024 NFL draft is Brian Thomas out of LSU. You want to talk about a guy who rose up a lot this year.
Yeah.
Which I'll talk about here in a second is maybe a detractor as well. He had an outstanding year playing alongside Malik Neighbors at LSU with Jaden Daniels at quarterback. He's got the frame you want, 6'4", 205. You cannot teach that. Cannot teach the frame like that. Again, I'm saying a reminder, not as a comparison. He reminds me of George Pickens a little bit. And kind of like the way they play. He showed really good explosiveness last year. He's great off the line. His deep route is kind of what sets him apart. Where you get those deep post routes, he excels at selling the deep shot. He's got the footwork you want, like you said. The route tree expanded this year. It's not really where you want it to be yet. That can still be coached. However, the route tree did get better this year. He's explosive. Really like to get the ball underneath and let him cook as well. But those like short routes, the outs, the slants inside, maybe your little hooks, they can be cleaned up a little bit. It leaves a little bit to be desired. I'd like to see him be a bit more aggressive against zone and finding the quarterback, being aggressive, finding those gaps as well. That is something that at least that stood out to me on tape, where a lot of his routes, a lot of his catches, he's a man coverage beater. I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive playing in zone. And then, like you said, I wonder about the consistency, because he had the one great year at LSU. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
So we're basing it off of what his future potential could be, but if he was like this for like 2 or 3 years, I think he'd be higher on this list if he played like it for 2 or 3 years. He'd be up for sure.
Yeah.
But with 1 year of information on him, it just leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yeah. Number 5 for me, Ladd McConkey. That guy
out of Georgia, by the way. I didn't mention that. That's Ladd McConkey out of Georgia.
Out of Georgia. You already kind of did everything. Very good short route. Explosive. You're lucky it's not worse. I've been having coughing fits, and they would last for like a whole minute, but we're doing okay right now. I'm trying to survive.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
No. But no, very explosive. He's not gonna have the breakaway speed, but he's gonna be a really good possession guy that's gonna get you, a quick few yards maybe, to just kind of move the chains. Like, he's not like, don't expect him to go run a fucking go route and catch that shit. Like, no, that's not where he's not gonna excel at. He's gonna play in the slot as he should, but he's basically, it's a lazy comparison, but he's a more athletic Cup. He's gonna be more athletic than he is. His cons, he's white.
He's white and slow.
He's white and slow, but he's explosive. Like, if you're gonna be white and slow, you might as well be explosive with your first.
You got to be good at something. And his thing is those routes, man.
He might make the all-white team though. He might make the all-white team.
Crazy.
In the NFL right now. But yeah.
You're doing great. You're doing
Troy.
great. You're doing great.
Okay. I know how to get it together. Get the fuck it together. Get the fuck it together. That's
Get
what I
the
just said.
fuck it together. Yep.
Get the fuck it together.
Stonk.
That's what I said. But yeah, he's my number 5. I'm not gonna be redundant. He's very explosive, can catch. He's just not gonna run. He's not gonna kill you with speed. Number 4 might be a little high for right now, but Keon Coleman. I was out of FSU. I was high on Keon Coleman. Everyone was coming into the year. Kind of dropped a little bit. Still really like him a lot. He's got great size. Can high point balls. Got great ball skills. He needs better route running. It's got to be sharper, especially like, you talked about his production. It could be just the system. Could just be like, hey, we have Trey Benson in the backfield, who we both rated very high on our episode last week. So that could be it too. But you can't teach size, and the ball skills are there. I think route running can be cleaned up. I think, that's what I'm kind of going off of. I think he can. He could do a lot of great things for a team. Bro, this is the best I felt the entire week. Isn't that crazy? I'm like fucking trying not to die right now.
You seem like you're struggling, yeah.
I went to work last week, man. I only missed one day of work. Like,
It was a trooper.
Well, on the day of work I missed was because Evie had to go to a doctor's appointment. So, but I was like, after I took an appointment, I was like, Evie, go play in your room. I need to like just.
He knocked out.
Yeah, and then she was like, "No, come on, go play." And I was like, "Okay." And then we went, and then I had to play magnets with her. We would build magnets together. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, he's got good ball skills. Needs better routes. Great size. Production is an issue, but I feel like I don't think he'll be a wide receiver 1. I think you were right about that. He's not gonna be a wide receiver 1, but I think he'll be a really good wide receiver 2, maybe a red zone target. Especially, with the lack of the route running skills, but like getting the red zone, you're like, oh shit, it's Keon Coleman time.
Like that's the guy, yeah.
Yeah. And like for your fantasy guys out there like me and Garrett are, like that could really tickle your fantasy right there. Like, oh, hey, especially if you're like a touchdown heavy lead. Oh, who's Keon Coleman with? Oh, he's with the Jaguars. Oh, they don't really have a touchdown guy. Boom, now we do. Like, I don't know. I got to look at that, but I'm just saying Jaguars out of the ass.
Right. No, I gotcha.
Yeah, so he's my number 4 guy. Do we have the same top 3?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, my number 4 is higher than on your list, but yeah, our number 3, and I believe that our top 3 are in order potentially too, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
My number 4 on the wide receiver rankings for the 2024 NFL Draft is Troy Franklin out of Oregon. I'm in.
I was a lot lower on him.
I know you were.
Okay.
I'm all in.
Okay.
You like the speed, bro. He is going to post a great 40 time.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I've mentioned about some guys. Oh, they're going to run really good 40s. No, Franklin's going to run a great 40. Like if he's floating out of all of them, probably not. But he's going to post an absolute time, a stellar time. If he's around like 4.35, I think that's peak for him. That's really, really solid. He in I believe 3 days is going to be turning 21.
Oof.
Like he's very, very young, which I'm all in for. Super productive last year, 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns with Bo Nix in Oregon. He's your deep threat. He's your guy that you could throw out there with your wide receiver 1. He'll be your wide receiver 2 coming out. He takes the top off the defense and lets the guys work in the middle of the field. He is an absolute game wrecker. He can seamlessly transition to play outside or inside in the NFL. I think if you put him in the slot, he's super dangerous because he's got the footwork. Those underneath routes are absolutely killer.
I think that would
his
be the
footwork,
best
his knowledge on selling routes is absolutely great. He's got the knee bend you want. He can sink real low. His change of direction's really solid. I loved almost everything I saw out of him this year at Oregon. He's 6'3", which is great. 185 pounds, which is not as great. But you kind of mentioned it earlier, like with Devontae Smith as an example, like a tall, long, lanky motherfucker who's just really thin. He'll have to make the same adjustments, kind of a guy like Devontae Smith that is being a slimmer guy transitioning to the NFL. Devontae Smith's done a great job.
Yeah,
he's a hell of a wide receiver in Philadelphia.
It's almost like a mindset. You have to be like, oh, even though I'm smaller, you still have to be as fucking physical as these other guys.
Of course, of course.
If you have that mindset, I think you're okay. But sometimes I struggle. I hesitate, or I wonder if some guys have that mindset coming in.
One of my bigger knocks on him though is, from what I've seen, when the drops are there, they're mostly concentration drops, which can be taught. That can be corrected kind of easily.
Like he's like, oh, I'm about to catch it.
Let me go ahead and turn upfield.
Okay.
That's exactly what I have in my notes of him, is that his head turns too quickly before the ball is secure. Just look it in literally a half second longer. That's a reception, just turn upfield. Because he can turn upfield, he can turn and burn. He's your guy for it. You just got to clean up the concentration a little bit. I'm curious to see who your number 3 is, because if your number 3 is the same as mine, then our top 3 is the same.
I got a Dunze.
Okay, our top 3s are the exact same then.
Cool.
Our number 3 is Rome Odunze from Washington. Our number 2 is Malik Neighbors from LSU, and the top receiver in the class, of course, is Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State. I'll hit on all 3 really quickly, and then I'll let you give your thoughts as well.
Okay.
Odunze reminds me so much of T. Higgins. Like when I watch Rome Odunze play outside, he reminds me a ton of T. Higgins. His head is great. Pause. Where he plays with so much confidence. He exudes confidence. Like when that ball comes his way, he already knows he's going to come down with it. He's got to figure out what he wants to do afterwards. His awareness is a plus. He can beat zone coverage. I mentioned it before with one of the guys on this list where I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive in zone coverage. He has the IQ and the awareness to recognize zone coverage and find the holes in the defense, which I absolutely love. His hips are very fluid. They don't lie whatsoever. He breaks in and out of cuts really easily. Shakira is right. I'd like to see stronger hands out of him, especially when high pointing the ball. He can be prone to when he gets his hands on the ball and the defender gets to kind of late to punch it out. He does have some drops in that range. The short field stuff underneath, I'd like to see a little bit cleaned up. Malik Neighbors, number 2 out of LSU. I don't want to flex or anything. I called this back in August.
Did you really?
I did. I said back in August he was going to finish the year as wide receiver 2 going into the draft, and look where we are. Wide receiver 2. He should be the second.
Did you get any flack for that? Anyone give you flack for that?
I don't think I got flack for it. No. Malik Neighbors has everything you want. Absolutely everything. His route tree, large and in charge. He runs all the routes super crisp. He's going to run a really good 40 time. Ball tracking skills, no matter where the ball's going, he's got eyes on it. The catch radius can get him to the ball. Yak Merchant. He runs really well with the ball in open field. He's a guy who you could probably scheme up to just find ways to get him the ball and watch him work. Maybe those touch passes. That'd be really sharp for him. Flips his hips really well. He really well cutting in and out of breaks. He had a really great year for LSU as well. Even with a guy like Brian Thomas having an exceptional year as well, Malik Neighbors had an awesome year. Yeah. Consistency over a longer season, I'd like to see a little bit better. He did have some lulls this year where it seemed like he was taking a game off here and there. I'd like to see that motor run hot and be consistent throughout the entire year. On go routes, I'd like to see him stack the defenders a little bit better as well, but that's just kind of being nitpicky almost. Yeah. And then Marvin Harrison. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because we already know. We already know everything about him. There's only note I have on him about a detractor is that he's a little loose sometimes when carrying the football.
That's what I
Where
wrote. I wrote down.
He can
I
have
wrote
some
down ball
fumbles.
security. I just wrote ball
Like
security.
that's it. Everything else is what you want. 6'4", 205. His dad is a legend. Marvin Harrison. He played with Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. He was so good. He's gonna be better than his dad. 100%.
I have a well, maybe. I have a con. He's kind of ugly.
That's absurd.
He's kind of ugly. Hey,
I
can
guess.
that be a con?
To each their own.
Oh, you like
to each
him.
their own.
You like him, huh? Oh,
I like anybody who's gonna go top 5 in the NFL draft. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
I will.
But no,
you're over here saying
I'm not.
Pour yourself out.
Hey, listen, to get the bag is to get the bag. You can't knock the hustle. But no, I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on him. Just watch the tape, and then he's the best receiver in the class. There's nothing else to be said.
Well, yeah, Roma Dunze. I mean, you kind of already hit it. I was just like, yeah, all right. So Rome, like he's very smooth. Like what I like about him, he's just very smooth. Like when you watch him, he's just a very smooth ball player.
He's a smooth operator.
Smooth operator. That was beautiful.
You like that, didn't you?
Yeah. Really one of my only knacks. I guess he kind of just needs a better release off the ball, off the line. If he can get a better release, I think that'll help him out a little bit. Other than that, you kind of already hit it. Like, needs to be just able to contain those contested catches. Like, he's gonna have to be able to bring those down, especially in the NFL where they get better at trying to knock it out as soon as you get the ball. Malik Neighbors is a fucking freak. That guy's a fucking freak. And if he's gonna be
so good.
If it wasn't for Marvin Harrison being in this draft class, he would be wide receiver 1. Like, I don't think it's a question.
I don't disagree with that.
He's an absolute fucking freak. He's explosive. He's probably he would be the best in the slot. Like, you want him in the slot. I don't think you put him on the outside, play him at X and Z. I don't think he might not excel as well. I think if you put him in, he's gonna be so good that like you can do it. But I think if you're trying to get the most out of him, getting him in the slot might work, especially if you have another guy to play on the outsides. But if you give him the ball, like you said earlier, if you give him the ball, he's gonna do fucking wonders. He's a freak of nature. But he might play better in the slot for you. But if you if you have like no wide receivers and you're like, fuck, we just need him on the fucking field. Yeah, do what you want. But and then Marvin Harrison Jr. is Marvin Harrison Jr. Like he's got it all. I literally put best and then minus ball security. That's the only
that's
the only one I know. That's the only
what can you say that we already don't know?
Right, Garrett.
Because
it's good. We're almost under. We're like basically under an hour. We did
that was like 10 minutes talking about Mobile too.
15 actually. I timed you.
I really thought this was going to be like an hour 20-minute episode. I'm not going to lie to you.
We did good. We did good today. We did good. We kept it concise. Got our fucking ducks in a row. Did what we had to do.
I'm proud.
With 15 minutes talking about mobile, which hopefully one year I could go with you when it's not during basketball season.
Listen, I really hope that next year works out. I really do.
Yeah, Garrett, I don't think you know how like all those people are like, oh, Miami's not ready for us. Like, how like girls, like when girls go out, Miami, like that's like mobile's not ready for us. You know what I'm saying? Like mobile's not ready for us, Garrett. And it's just like they ain't seen no two basic white guys ever before. Well, hold on. We got Garrett who looks like Wally G's shoulder hair and Chickster going like they've never seen this duo together.
Do you want to hear the dream that I have for like a future mobile setup? I love and this is gonna sound like overkill, I'm aware, but I have a plan for everything. One day, I'd love to run a team down there with 6 people. Okay. I know it's a lot.
Yeah,
listen to the plan. It's gonna make sense. The groups are broken up into 3 groups. So it's the wide receivers and DBs, it's the linebackers and running backs, and then you have your linemen, both offensive and defensive. One person just watches the one. Now, obviously, like, you can peek and take your little notes and whatever, but like, let's say you, me, Jackson Law go 1 year.
Okay.
I watch the lines. Jackson Law watches the running back linebackers. You watch wide receivers and DBs.
Yep.
Right? It's perfect because that way everything's covered.
Right.
The other 3 people, those are film guys. They're recording every single thing.
With some like
that
fancy
way,
camera.
Yes. Okay, you're seeing the vision. We have the technology. They have technology out there from like you can record something and immediately send it to like a laptop somewhere, right? So
Yeah.
if you set up your camera, right, they're recording all the practices. You just take the clip, boom. The film people have the rosters. Be like, this person, great route, great catch against this person. Hashtag Senior Bowl. Hashtag draft starts in Mobile. That you have to put those 2 out there as well. It's in the thing, and everybody only gets 2 minutes of posting per practice, which is kind of bullshit, but it's also fine.
Yeah.
That's the dream, to roll air with enough firepower to literally cover everything. Like last year, I think Mark and I did a pretty decent job.
Yeah.
That Trey was watching at home, obviously, because he's
blocked.
Yeah, but obviously Trey does a great job just watching as well. And I think Mark and I, boots on the ground, did a really good job last year as well. I think the same thing. I think I did a pretty decent job this year, but it was hard.
You did a great job, sir.
Thanks, dude. It's hard to watch every single thing.
Yeah.
When it's one person. So that's why I said next year, if I have to drag 2 people to Mobile with me, I'm going to. I will not go again by myself. There's too much to cover. So yes, if and when the time comes where we get you to Mobile, it's game over.
Well,
forget it.
I would have told Jim Nagy to unblock Trey. I would have told him. You were like 2 feet away from him. I would have told him.
That is also true.
Can you unblock my boss? Can you? I would.
Could you
record this, Garrett?
Could you imagine if I just walk up to this man with my camera out and I'm like, and I like go to take a photo, be like, hey Jim, just get a quick photo, and it's on video. Hey, quick question. I work for Vendetta Sports Media. You have my boss blocked for some reason. Can you unblock him, please?
Can you unblock my boss? Trey Dauber.
Unblock my boss?
Trey Dauber, please unblock him. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, sorry.
And then my pass gets revoked and I'm also blocked. Yeah.
There was also one person in credential line for 45 minutes. Okay, bye.
Dude, I couldn't fucking believe it. I could not fucking believe it. But that's our list on your screen. I'm gonna go over my 10 really quick. Alex is gonna go over his 10 really quick. Number 10 on the screen, Malachi Corley from Western. Excuse me. Thank you. I got Malachi Corley at number 10 from Western Michigan. Devontae Walker barely made the 10. I honestly probably could have. Do you mind? Thank you. Devontae Walker at number 9 from UNC. A.D. Mitchell from Texas at 8. Keon Coleman down at 7 at FSU. Might be a little low. Lad McConkey up there at 6 from Georgia. Brian Thomas from LSU at 5. Troy Franklin, a riser for me. I'm pretty high on out of Oregon at 4. Roma Dunze at 3. Washington. Malik Neighbors 2 at LSU, which I called before the year started. Number 1's, of course, Marvin Harrison.
You can't make me laugh. If you make me laugh, it's worse. I can't. I have to tell you the story after we get off. That made me laugh so hard yesterday. But all right.
You're doing great.
Just
get through your 10, and then we'll get out of here.
Jalen Polk, Washington, 9. Brendan Weiss.
Brendan Weiss. I got Brendan Weiss out of USC at number 9. I got little bitty Brendan Weiss.
Don't do it. Don't do
it. I got at number 8. I got A.D. Mitchell out of Texas. And number 7.
Stop it. Stop it right now.
Fucking crazy.
I'm being so fucking serious right now.
Serious.
All right. I'm being so serious right now.
Holy shit.
All right. 7, A.D. Mitchell. out of Texas. Number 6. No, sorry.
8.
I
This
don't
is
know
a
what
mess.
fucking number I'm at. Number 8, A.D. Mitchell out of Texas. Number 7,
You're doing great.
Troy Franklin out of Oregon. Number 6, Brian Thomas out of LSU. Number 5, Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. Number 4, Keon Coleman out of FSU. Number 3, Roma Dunze out of Washington. Number 2, Malik Neighbors, a fucking freak out of LSU. And Marvin Harris Jr., the best out of Ohio State.
Down there every single week joining me is Chickster. Give him some love in the comments for getting through his flu game. Thank you for watching another video. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel already, press the subscribe button. If you like the content coming out of the channel, leave a thumbs up, comment, give him some love, share it with a friend. He's having a hard time down there. Like the video. It'll make him feel better. It has healing powers. Give him some likes, some comments, show him some love. If you haven't already, ring the bell so you don't miss any more uploads. We're getting